In this video, we take a look back at history from rowboats to steamboats, the evolution of watercraft from oars to engine ships. Rowboats, rowing vessels, using oars as the main source of propulsion, have played an important role in the history of navigation. Sail history of the sail spans thousands of years, and its invention was a key step in the development of navigation and shipping. Ships with engines. History of ships with engines traces back to the early 19th century, as mechanical propulsion gradually supplanted wind-powered sailing vessels. This educational video offers a concise yet detailed exploration of the technological advancements that continue to shape our daily lives. Rowing vessels, using oars as the main source of propulsion, have played an important role in the history of navigation. Their invention and development are closely linked to the need to cross water for trade, war, and exploration. Rowing vessels appeared thousands of years ago and evolved, changing technologies and methods of navigation. The first rowing vessels appeared in ancient times, when people began to use a raft or boat to move along bodies of water. Some of the earliest examples of such vessels are canoes, which were made from tree trunks, and rafts consisting of logs tied together. These vessels were simple in design and moved using hands or primitive oars. Ancient Egypt. Around 400 BC, the Egyptians began building wooden rowing vessels that used oars to move along the Nile. These vessels were key to trade, construction, and religious ceremonies. Ancient depictions show Egyptian vessels equipped with multiple rows of oars, which were propelled by a team of rowers. Phoenicians and the ancient Mediterranean. In the Mediterranean, rowing vessels became the main form of transport and warships. The Phoenicians and Greeks developed the design of the galley, a vessel with multiple rows of oars, which was used for both trade and war. These vessels could reach high speeds due to the coordinated work of the rowers and the use of lightweight materials for construction. Galleys of the Roman Empire. During the Roman Empire, galleys became the backbone of the navy. The Romans built large galleys with multiple rows of rowers, which were used in naval battles. Galleys could be equipped with rams to attack enemy ships. Their use became an important element of Rome's naval strategy. Evolution and decline of rowboats. Middle Ages. Rowboats in the Middle Ages evolved primarily for coastal trade, fishing, and short military missions. During the Middle Ages, rowboats remained important for both trade and military purposes, especially in the Mediterranean. The Byzantines and Venetians continued to develop rowboat technology, perfecting it for warfare and cargo transportation. By the Renaissance, ships relied on sails for open-sea journeys, relegating rowboats to support roles in naval fleets or for fishing and transport in shallow waters. Rise of sailing ships. With the development of sailing technology during the Renaissance, 15th to 16th centuries, the role of rowboats began to decline. Sailing ships could carry more cargo and travel longer distances without the need for oarsmen. However, in coastal waters and for military purposes, rowboats remained relevant. Modern rowboats. Today, rowboats are used primarily for sporting events such as canoeing, kayaking, and rowing. These vessels retain the principles of ancient technology, although modern materials such as plastic and composites make them lighter and more durable. Importance of rowboats. Rowing vessels played a key role in the development of ancient civilizations. They facilitated trade, military power, and cultural exchange. The use of oars allowed ancient peoples to travel long distances by water, which contributed to the expansion of their influence. Thus, rowboats were a major invention that had a significant impact on shipping, warfare, and trade for thousands of years. The history of the sail spans thousands of years, and its invention was a key step in the development of navigation and shipping. The sail allowed humans to harness the power of the wind to move across water, greatly improving the transportation of goods, expanding trade, and opening up new horizons for exploration of the world. Origins of the sail. Ancient roots. The first mentions of sails date back to the early period of human history. Around 5000 to 400 BC, the ancient Egyptians began using sails on their boats to navigate the Nile River. Their first sails were simple sheets made from plant fibers such as reeds or papyrus. These sails complemented the oars and were used to catch the wind, helping to navigate along the river. At the same time, sails began to appear in Mesopotamia and along the coast of the Indian Ocean. The ancient peoples of these regions also began to use simple sails on their ships, which gave them the ability to navigate not only along the coastline, but also to make longer sea voyages. Ancient Indian maritime history dates back over 6,000 years, with evidence showing that the art of navigation originated along the Indus River, from which the word navigation itself is derived. Indian mariners, known for their advanced skills, engaged in extensive trade with distant civilizations, including Mesopotamia, around the 3rd millennium BCE. They utilized sophisticated shipbuilding techniques, featuring durable wooden vessels capable of enduring long sea journeys. These early Indian sailors navigated using stars and developed a deep understanding of monsoon winds, which helped them reach their destinations accurately despite challenging open sea conditions. Development of the sail. Mediterranean and ancient Greece. In the Mediterranean, around 2000 BC, the Phoenicians and Greeks began to develop more sophisticated sailing technology. Their ships already had triangular sails, Latin sails, which allowed the vessel to move not only with the wind, but also against it obliquely, using the crosswind. These ships became important for trade and military operations. Roman Empire. During the Roman Empire, 1st century BC, 5th century AD, sailing ships reached a high level of sophistication. The Romans used large merchant ships with sails to transport goods across the Mediterranean. Their ships were able to travel long distances thanks to the use of several types of sails. Middle Ages. During the Middle Ages, 5th to 15th centuries, sailing technology was further developed. Caravels and galleons appeared, sailing ships that used both rectangular and triangular sails, which allowed for improved maneuverability and cruising range. This was especially important for countries engaged in maritime trade, such as Venice, Genoa, and Spain. Age of Discovery. In the 15th and 16th centuries, sailing ships became the main means of long-distance sea expeditions. For example, the famous expeditions of Christopher Columbus, Vasco da Gama, and Ferdinand Magellan were made possible by the development of sailing technology. These ships were able to cross the Atlantic and Indian Oceans, which led to the discovery of new trade routes and the expansion of European empires. Sail in modern times. 17th to 18th centuries. During this period, sailing ships reached their peak. Huge sailing fleets were created, such as the ships of the East India Company, which were used to transport huge amounts of goods from India, China, and Africa to Europe. In military terms, sailing ships, such as ships of the line, were used in naval battles. Sailing ships in the 19th century. Even with the advent of steam engines in the 19th century, sailing ships remained important for trade and navigation. Some of them, such as the famous clipper ships, were used for fast voyages across the Atlantic and around Cape Horn. Modern use. Today, sailing vessels have been almost completely replaced by motorized vessels, but sails continue to be used in sports and recreational activities. Yachts, catamarans, and sailing schooners are popular among those who value traditional sailing and interaction with the wind. Also, in recent years, some companies have been developing concepts for green cargo ships that use sails to save fuel. Conclusion. The sail is one of the greatest inventions that has had a huge impact on the development of mankind. It has made it possible to discover new lands, develop trade, and build empires. And its history is linked to the most important events in world history. Marine engine. The history of ships with engines traces back to the early 19th century, as mechanical propulsion gradually supplanted wind-powered sailing vessels. The invention of steam-powered vessels began with early concepts by Denis Papin in the late 1600s. In 1807, American inventor Robert Fulton launched the Clermont, one of the earliest steam-powered vessels, which utilized a steam engine to drive paddle wheels. By 1838, the British SS Great Western became the first purpose-built steamship to cross the Atlantic, solidifying steam power's role in maritime transport. This innovation allowed vessels to navigate waterways independently of wind conditions, ushering in the era of steam navigation. Transition to iron hulls and propellers. By the mid-19th century, engineers transitioned to iron hulls and screw propellers, which significantly improved the efficiency and durability of ships. In 1843, the SS Great Britain, engineered by Isambard Kingdom Brunel, became the first major iron-hulled, propeller-driven steamship. This shift allowed for longer voyages and greater carrying capacity, proving especially valuable for transatlantic travel. Gradually changing engine type. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, coal-powered steam engines continued to dominate, although they were gradually replaced by oil-burning steam turbines, as seen in the RMS Titanic. By the 20th century, diesel engines emerged as the preferred propulsion for commercial and military ships. Diesel engines provided more power and efficiency, eventually becoming the dominant technology for marine propulsion. The introduction of diesel power in the 1910s enabled ships to travel longer distances at higher speeds, transforming international shipping and commerce. Nuclear-powered vessels. The mid-20th century saw the advent of nuclear-powered vessels, starting with the USS Nautilus in 1954, a submarine that could operate for extended periods without refueling. Nuclear propulsion, however, remained primarily in the military and specialized research sectors due to high costs and regulatory concerns. Impact of environmental concerns. In the late 20th and early 21st centuries, environmental concerns and fuel costs prompted the exploration of more sustainable propulsion technologies. Liquefied natural gas (LNG) engines emerged, offering reduced emissions compared to traditional fuels. Furthermore, advances in battery technology led to the development of hybrid and fully electric vessels, particularly for ferries and short-range commercial ships. Many modern ships now incorporate digital navigation and propulsion management systems to enhance fuel efficiency and minimize environmental impact. Today's ship propulsion continues to evolve, focusing on cleaner, renewable energy sources and advanced fuel-saving designs, marking an era defined by technological adaptability and environmental awareness.
Hello everyone. I am very excited to share my new YouTube video with you, and I need your support to continue to bring quality and enriching content. If you enjoyed my content, please help me by like the video. It helps me reach more people and spread the message. Subscribe to the channel using the subscribe button below so you don't miss any new update or video. Press the bell to receive notifications every time I upload new content. And if you would like to support me directly and help me create more content, you are welcome to join me on Patreon. Your support is significant for me and allows me to continue investing in creating quality and enjoyable content for you. Thank you so much for joining and watching. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. See you in the next video.